asking that, but.
I was wondering, why is it going partisan?
All right. Good evening again, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank y'all so much for allowing MSBA to assist you with the search for your next superintendent. But before we go any further, just want to have a moment of silence for Dolly Parton.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Dolly was kind of one of my favorites. I liked her, I first liked her as an actress in 9 to 5. I know that's dating me. All right, I'm gonna shift that over so we can just go straight to the slideshow. Dr. Henderson, our superintendent search manager, is here with us, and it has several things that she wants to get information from you before we provide the results of the survey.
All right, so you want to.
Or do you want to go through this
Yeah, I
first?
think if you'll go
Okay.
through that first.
All right.
We're going to take you through the criteria to serve as a superintendent. And, you know, the law changed and went into effect in 2019 that all superintendents would be appointed. And at that point, the law went into effect, which outlines the criteria as to who can serve as a superintendent. Now notice that was 2019, we are in 2026, and it's still a new concept to some people. So we felt like it would benefit you to have a review of that. And a good example is I had a phone call this afternoon before I left from someone who's been out of education since 2021, and he wanted to come to the Prospective Superintendent Leadership Academy. He's not employed in a school district. His license has expired, and he was in shock that there was a state law that outlined the criteria. So there are people that still, you know, don't understand the law. And Dr. Jackson is going to review some of this with you.
Okay.
As a way to help you understand that the law gives you the criteria that you have to meet, but your criteria that you're going to define today is equally as important as the law, okay? So when your job announcement is developed, it will have the state law, but it will also have your criteria. All right, good? Sure.
All right, so that document that Tina is handing out has the law on the inside cover, and it shares with you, it's Mississippi Code 37913. I thought we had, there we go. All right. Did we not have enough?
Hang on,
I think there's two.
Tina.
They returned, I got your name. I'm sorry, they returned it to different place.
We like to keep it interesting, Tina. So, you'll see that Mississippi Code 37913 says that in order to be eligible to be a superintendent, the individual must have classroom or administrative experience of not less than 6 years, which shall include at least 3 years of administrative experience as a building principal in a school with an A or B accountability. That's 3 years as a principal in A or B school, or B, 3 years in a school that increased its accountability rating by a letter grade and maintained it. And then C is in a school in another state with comparable ratings to what we have. So if someone from out of state applied for a job here, they would have to go through the Department of Education to verify that their accountability actually matched Mississippi's. So here we go. The 3 years as a building principal in a school that was rated A or B, you as a board will determine whether or not you want the superintendent to have had building level experience. And then in a school that increases accountability rating, so if the school was rated C when the principal got there, and they moved it in their 3 years there, 4 years there, to a B rating, and it maintained that B or A rating, they would qualify to be a superintendent. Sometimes people think that, oh, I raised it from a C to a B in 1 year, and that's all I need to do. The Attorney General has said it's 3 years that it has to be maintained. And that's what's in this book that you've got. After the legal qualifications and alternate qualifications are several Attorney General opinions that have to do with the superintendency. So that's the second way.
All right, can I say the A or
Yes.
B? The A or B does not have to be consecutive years.
Right.
It doesn't have to be at the same school, it doesn't have to be in the same district. So that's part of why this law is confusing to people. But obviously moving it up and maintaining it,
You
that
have
has
to be
the
there,
same.
yes.
Yeah.
But the 6 years, the A or B has to be within a 6-year period. All right? So, those are, the ways a principal qualifies. Two other ways that someone can qualify according to the law is if they have been a superintendent within the past 5 years or an assistant superintendent within the past 5 years. You don't have to have both, but most boards want a superintendent who has been a principal. All right, and then there's the alternate qualifications, which are in your book on page 3, I think. Yes, on page 3. So the alternate qualifications were designed for people who were either non-educators or people who were at the central office level that maybe have been separated from the school for a while. Say your curriculum director was a principal 12 years ago. Well, that accountability may not count right now. So, but if they've been the curriculum director for 6 years, they could, the board could certify that they are qualified. Only the board can do that. It's not an automatic thing where somebody says, oh, well, I've been a, federal programs director for 6 years, I qualify. No, it's the board who even determines whether or not they will allow alternate qualifications. We met with the board this morning who is about to open their search, and they don't want alternate criteria. They want a superintendent who has been a proven principal as their next leader. So the alternate qualifications is the 6 years, a master's degree, and a resolution from the board to accept that person's experience as a leader. So those are the ways that you qualify. Any questions about qualification?
Now, and this is on our website.
Yes.
Part of the application process, that you read it and understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
We got a little man with a stop sign that says stop before going any further. And every search we do, we're going to get somebody who has not stopped and read it. And who gets their feelings hurt because we say that they don't qualify. Or not that we say it, but their experience says that they don't qualify. So, any questions about qualifications? All right. Great. Good. So, just a little bit about the work that we'll be doing for you. We're here today to answer any questions that you may have about the search. to establish the criteria from the search, to develop your timeline. When do you want this complete by? When do you want the superintendent, seated? You're gonna give us all of those dates, because that information is going to go into your announcement. Then we're going to discuss whether or not you want to do online surveys or stakeholder surveys face-to-face. Do you want to give your community a voice in the search in this way? Many districts choose an online survey because it allows everyone to give some input. But you all can tell us if that's something that you're interested in. As far as the recruitment is concerned, we're going to prepare your announcement. We'll post the search. We will, anyone who applies, they'll go through our system. It's an electronic system. They'll do their application there, and we will receive that information. If the board wants us to contact any individuals to apply, we will do that. Board we talked to this morning said, yeah, contact all of the districts that are like us, high performers. That's what they said. And then we'll process the applications. We'll do the reference checks, any legal background. We'll also do Google reports. All of that will go into, we'll also interview your applicants and share with you how they meet your criteria, how they meet state law. Then we'll give you a comprehensive report that you will be able to take a look at that report that we have provided with you and make the decision. We do not make recommendations to you on who to hire, because that's the board's role. And who's accountable if we tell you, why don't you hire Roland to be your superintendent? And then Roland says, well, I don't want that job. So we will also assist you with sample interview questions for your final interview, because your interview is going to be different than ours. You're going to interview those to see about the fit for this seat. You all know what that looks like better than anyone. You know any concerns that you've had that you would like to see. We want to make sure that our superintendent has this skill set or that skill set. So those are things that you all will determine. And then anyone that has not been selected, we will notify those applicants. If there's a media release, we can assist you with that as well, along with a contract. And if you, we also offer a workshop for the board and superintendent. It's a leadership workshop that kind of puts the board and superintendent on the same page, and with your strategic goals, your vision, an understanding for the superintendent of the board's role and the superintendent's role. And then if there is no acceptable candidate, then we will do the search again. All right, so that was just a little bit of an overview. Dr. Henderson, did you want to talk about their survey now? Or did you want me to share anything else? I think that's all we had on here.
And we sincerely appreciate the fact that you completed the survey online and in such a timely manner. Thank you very much. So, you will remember there were 2 sections to the survey. The first section, we had the opportunity to script some answers there, and then the second part was a rating type of survey. And I thought you might want to know the areas where you all agreed. Everybody put a number 1, which was very important. And sometimes it's hard to find that among a group of 5 because you value things differently. But, the areas where you all marked a number 1, has high emotional intelligence, is self-aware, and can develop strong interpersonal relationships. And that is so important in any leader, and to be self-aware of themselves and how they are dealing with others, okay? Then is able to work cooperatively with the board, so you value that kind of relationship. Has the ability to develop a climate of trust and openness. All right, and then is able to develop a vision of where the district should be in the future and can articulate the vision to all stakeholder groups. Has a process for communicating with administrators, staff, parents, and community members. In every single search that MSBA has done since I've been with the organization, communication comes out as the number 1 need and preference for boards. Not just communicating, meaning you give a good speech, but communicating what you need to know, when you need to know it. And at this point in time with public school education, having someone that is going to keep current on the challenges facing public school education, for example, school choice, funding, going to private schools, those kinds of things. You're going to need someone who can clearly articulate that to all of your stakeholders and keep them abreast of what's going on. Then you said, does possess effective oral and written communication skills. So those are the areas that you all agreed upon. And something that you all indicated is you wanted someone that is going to move the district forward and believes in the capability of the district being able to do more. So that was from several of you. And so what we did is take the survey and convert it to the report that you have in front of you. Now this is a very good document, and it lists out your executive summary and each one of the critical areas for a superintendent. Academic leadership, trust and board relations, communication and relationships, leadership development and organizational culture, district-wide unity and continuous improvement, and responsible stewardship and strategic leadership. Then you can see the strengths that you listed of your district, and you are very proud of your district, as you should be. You're proud of the accountability, but you see room for growth there. You are proud of your family-oriented atmosphere, your parental involvement, the community support. So you can see all of the areas where you have your great pride in the North Pike School District. Then we ask you, well, what would be a priority area, or what would be something you would like to do differently or do at a higher level? And you have some priorities as far as your academics. You want to increase proficiency, not just the growth. Strengthen literacy, and strengthen your K-12 leadership across the district, and then improve services and outcomes for students with disabilities. So you see some areas that you feel like you want the new superintendent to focus on. And this was a statement that one of you made, and because these were anonymous, I don't know who made it, but it is a good statement. When better is possible, good enough
is not acceptable. So you decide who said that, because we liked that statement, but we don't know who said it, all right? You want to promote unity, and that came out several times, that is of great value to you as a board. You want to continue to improve the employee morale. And teacher morale is down right now, and I am a huge advocate for teachers. I always have been. And when the legislature, and we are grateful that the legislature gave the $2,000 pay raise, but when it translates into a paycheck, you don't really get to see that much of the benefit from the $2,000. So we're hoping that that will be recognized and improved upon in the future. And teachers, so much is placed on their plates to do. After I left the Clinton School District, they implemented a pre-K program. And one of my biggest honors is to be asked to come back to read during Dr. Sue's Read Across America. So when I was assigned to the pre-K4 class, that was new for me. And that was when, they told me I was the best reader in the world. They also thought I was Dr. Seuss, so that, But what the teacher shared with me privately, now this was March, out of her 21 students, 4 came not potty trained. And so she potty trained them. Now that is a little bit, in my mind, beyond the duty of a teacher, but those are some of the types of things teachers are facing right now, is extra things that they were not initially prepared for. So we really need to work on teacher morale and making your employees feel supported, and that's something you valued highly. You want to look at your organizational chart, and you will remember your organizational chart belongs to the board. But I think you wanted to look at that and deliberate maybe about assignments that people have and those kinds of things. With your new superintendent, let him or her come in and reflect on that. So for your draft at the bottom of page 2, here are some of the criteria that we were suggesting that would appear in your job announcement. And we're going to leave this with you today. We can go ahead and walk through it, or we can leave it with you, give you time to reflect on it, and maybe you respond to us by Monday with the specific criteria that you prefer, or we can walk through it today. That's up to you. But what we normally do in a job search, as I said earlier, we put Mississippi Code 37913 in the job announcement, but then we also list the criteria that the board is looking for. And so the draft criteria came from the responses that you gave in your survey. So there were professional qualifications, and one of the areas that all of you found important was successful experience as a building level principal. If you'll remember, that was one of the criteria on there. Then you have the instructional leadership and student achievement. You wanted someone that could demonstrate that they have the experience and can prove it to you. Just saying, I will improve it is not enough. You wanted to see demonstrated mastery of improvement of achievement among the students. Experience with diverse student populations, and that included struggling learners and students with disabilities. Every district has those, but you highlighted those in your survey. You wanted someone who is going to demonstrate a commitment to literacy, math, and college and career readiness. all of those areas. Under leadership, you wanted someone that's going to be well organized, sets priorities, is a team-oriented manager, someone who will work with a team approach, has good professional judgment, and can develop relationships among the principals with each other, and then the superintendent have that same kind of relationship. Then under board superintendent relations, looking for someone who can develop a productive and trusting relationship. So when you're questioning about that, you don't ask, will you do that? You can say, give an example of a time that you were able to develop and build trust. I'm on the staff parish relationship committee at my church, and we're dealing with a similar situation there. So every organization is really looking for somebody who can build relationships and build trust also. You want somebody who is going to give you timely, accurate reports. And as a board, it's your duty to define for the superintendent what type of reports you want to see every month. So if you want to know how your attendance is, you, the board, would say, I want to see an attendance report every month in graph form, the line going up or the line going down. Compare it, even you could say, I want to see how it looks compared to last year. Then you could also ask for a staff attendance report. How does our attendance look with our staff members and our teachers? There was a recent article about a Delta school district, and the high school in one day had 22 teacher absences. And the statement was made they were unable to really have school because there were not enough staff members present to carry on all of the academic subjects. So keeping up with that is good information for you to have. Then, reports, finance reports, enrollment reports. Those are things that you can ask for as board members. And you wanted somebody that was going to find out from you what kind of reports you want and generate those, okay? You wanted somebody that was going to have both a formal and informal communication protocol. And MSBA has a module on developing a formal communication protocol. Oxford School District was actually the first district who developed that. And then the board adopted their communication protocol. It is placed on their website so that all stakeholders know. But it defines when the board packets go out, the number of days you have to ask questions prior to that board meeting, who's in charge when the superintendent doesn't have to be present, it doesn't happen to be present in the district. It's a very formal communication process. It also defines the board wants to hear from the superintendent every Friday through an email, and I want to know, these 4 things. And I want you to remind me in that email what's coming up the next week. So it's a really good protocol, and it is a very formal. You may already be doing something like that, but it sounded like you were going to value a little more formality in the communication area. Be transparent when making recommendations, presenting needs and challenges and opportunities, keeping the board policy system up to date, and in the area of communication and interpersonal, we already said you all wanted somebody with high emotional intelligence and somebody that can establish an effective system of communication within the district as well as with you, the superintendent. And In the area of personal character and professional character, honest, transparent, ethical, is humble and willing to listen, has the courage to make difficult decisions, has an open mind, and will consider the impact of those decisions on those that are affected by the decision, okay? And lead by example. Then you want someone who is going to recruit and retain and develop strong staff members. And Dr. Jackson and I have made this observation several times. From being with you in your retreat for 2 years, you have strong staff members. You know, when they were giving the reports that day at the board meeting, or at the board retreat, you've got some people that have great work ethic, they've got good knowledge, they may need a little more clear direction again as to the type of information. Call special attention to the nurses. They were amazing with their report. Your transportation director was not there, but he submitted a really wonderful report. So the capability among your staff members is really wonderful. You've got loyal people who probably could have gone somewhere else, but choose to stay with North Pike. And so building up and supporting those people could be the duty of your new superintendent, along with your support from the background. You want somebody that can articulate what North Pike School District expects, and you have a strategic plan, but maybe you want it to be more of a living document than it is right now, to let it guide the goals that you set for your school district. And as a superintendent, I'm speaking as a former superintendent, I knew exactly what the board expected of me. They met with me and clearly outlined from day one what was expected. And so that helped me know, for example, they wanted me to dress like a superintendent. Well, that was great because I could go out shopping and, you know, make sure I looked like a superintendent. They wanted me to join a local civic club. They wanted me to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and they paid the fee for me to be a member. I was directed to speak at every single opportunity that I had about the school district, go into churches, be visible in the schools. And as assistant superintendent, I was already doing that, and that's a pleasure for a superintendent to be able to go into the schools and see what's happening. Not to find anything wrong, but to see what learning and teaching is going on. And that's something you wanted, somebody that would be willing to go into the schools and be visible. And then somebody that had a continuous improvement mindset, because there's always something that needs improving. So you don't just stop when you've accomplished one thing, then you begin to look at what is the next thing that I need to work on. And then someone in the financial area that understands school finance. You cannot just depend on your school finance manager. The superintendent needs to have a good handle on school finance and, you know, direct the resources toward those goals in your strategic plan and make sure that it's supporting what you want as a board member, what the outcomes are that you want as a board member. Then in the area of technology, understand the role of technology in the learning process, in the communication process. You know that AI is here, and you wanted somebody that had maybe the willingness and ability to begin bringing that into the classrooms, used by your administrators in different ways. And promote technology decisions that support student achievement. There was a news report this morning in the metro area about Natchez Adams, who has replicated what Marshall County did last year. They have bought the pouches that the cell phones go into, and the students will be turning in their cell phones during the day. So that's an interesting concept. So that's another school district that's doing that. Then in the community engagement, you want somebody like that will be out and about, building relationships with people in your community, with businesses in your community, church organizations in your community. And then someone who is good at looking at additional resources and future planning needs. So some of the things that you were looking at is replacement and acquisition of school buses, which is a major investment in this day and time. Services for students with special needs, facilities for track and cross-country, that came up, agricultural science classrooms, additional space for some of your career and tech classes so that you can expand in that area, and continued technology improvement. So those are the criteria that were generated from your survey. And then the next section are expectations that you can use for what you are looking for the first year of your new superintendent. Those are outlined for you right there. That would be a good guideline for you. Another suggestion that we make is that when you do hire your new superintendent, give him or her a copy of this survey document report so that the new superintendent can see the feedback from you, what you defined in an anonymous way that you value. And that is a good foundation for them to begin with. But this document also gives you some information as far as what you would expect for their first year. All right, and then a consideration by the board as to whether you want to do an internal search or whether you want to open it up beyond your school district. That's another decision that you would need to make. Dr. Jackson, do you have that slide that showed what we did is we researched the last 3 years of new superintendents. This year, there are, I think it's 29 new superintendents. Last year, it was, here we go, 26, 27, 29 new superintendents. 19 of the 29 were internal. So that doesn't mean they necessarily were an assistant superintendent, but they were internal to the district. So that's 65.5%. The 25-26 group of superintendents, there were 30 new superintendents last year. 60% of the boards chose someone internal. And then 24-25, there were 21 new superintendents. 12 boards chose somebody internally, which was 57%, just to give you an idea of what's happening statewide. The new law narrows the number of people who apply because it's specific as to which criteria you have to meet. And so there are 138 school districts. So look at the change in the number of superintendents in the last 3 years. In 26, 27, out of those 29 superintendents, 20 are novice, meaning they've never been a superintendent before. So there's a lot of new superintendents out there. And then another area that we researched is, the number of school districts with a superintendent with a doctorate, either a PhD or an EDD. And look how close this is, 51%, so it's almost half and half. Some districts, say that they would prefer somebody with a doctorate, others don't make a recommendation at all. So that's something else that we would like to know from you. And another critical area is, will you require your superintendent to live in a certain geographical area near North Pike? That's something, some districts require the superintendent, some boards require the superintendent to live in the school district with his or her family. All right, so I know that's a lot of information. So what do you prefer? Do you want to have time to gel this information and?
So our next, I guess our regular board meeting would be next Thursday, not
Okay.
2 days from today, but next Thursday. We could approve tonight, I'm just speaking out loud for the board, we could approve tonight, or if we want to approve in our next meeting, that's just a week away. If we need time to think about this and discuss, I don't know, I'm asking an opinion here.
We also are going to talk to you a little bit about a timeline, so,
Sure.
putting it to next Thursday would not be that critical of a timeline.
I mean, this is the computation of all 5 of the board members.
Mhm.
So this would include everything that each of us have said that we find important to the district, so I have no problems with
Approving it as is without amendment, okay?
unless there's something from the board members.
Any other discussion, or Mr. Jackson? All right, well, hearing no other discussion then, do I have a motion that we approve the search criteria as presented?
Motion that we approve the search criteria for superintendent as submitted.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carried.
All right, now we'll, give you, a proposed timeline.
Go ahead.
Dr. Jackson?
Yes.
Do you all have extra copies so we can put that without the minutes?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so, knowing that you have, approved the criteria, all right, so are you ready to make a decision as to whether or not you want to do a search only with the internal applicants, or do you want to open the search up to external applicants? Now, you signed a contract for a modified search.
I think we had decided that already.
So we discussed that in our last meeting, and, the majority wanted to keep it, just with our internal.
Okay.
So that's where,
Cause y'all were gonna owe us more money.
Yeah.
no, we're gonna go the cheaper route, so.
But that shows that you value
That's right.
your employees. That's what that shows. You value their knowledge and wisdom. All right, so let's look, this is, like I say, this is just a draft and we can change any date. So you've already approved of the, criteria, so we don't need the August 31st, that's an August 25 date. we were proposing to advertise it for 3 weeks. And what that would mean is that we would develop the job announcement and we send it to the board to get the board's approval of the job announcement. Then we post it, we will post it at your website, have access there and at our website. But we will make sure that it is clear that it is an internal search. Then what about the surveys and the stakeholder input? Do you want to do an online anonymous survey very similar to what you, the board, completed? The way that is done, the stakeholders complete the survey. When the feedback comes to us, it will say parent and list what the parent said. Or it'll say teacher, list what the teacher said. Then we combine all of those responses into a report and give it to you when we come to talk about the applicants. So the stakeholder groups are administrators, teachers, parents, community, and business. And so we don't know who they are, and they just fill out the survey, and they're asked questions similar to, what are you proud of? What are some growth areas that you would like to see in North Pike? What are some of the characteristics that you would like to see in the new superintendent? And so these are responses, not marking 1 to 5, those kinds of responses. And it's, like I say, it's anonymous, and we can advertise that it's available and have it, the link posted at your website. So would you like to do that?
And you may want to think about it a little bit longer.
My knee jerk would be yes, but so if somebody has something to say when the process is over, you had your opportunity to speak through and it wouldn't hurt, I mean, that.
And would the report look similar to what our report looks like with their information?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be like this. I think, why not?
Yeah, I don't know what it would hurt.
I think that would be good for the community.
All right, I think we would like to do that.
Okay.
And so it would be we would post basically, if you're interested in sharing your thoughts, go to this survey online, fill this out online, and it would be a deadline, they would have to do it by,
Right.
okay.
We usually keep it posted for 10 days, and we advertise, we ask that, the district, either through the media or through their regular communication system, advertise, this survey is available, it'll be up for 10 days. And, and it's the board's attempt to involve stakeholders in the search process.
So is it like a link that they would be
Yes.
given so that they can just click on that? Let's say we put it on our page,
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
then they would be able to just click on that link,
Yep.
and then it goes straight to you guys.
It goes straight
Right.
to us.
The response
We can do it on
notice.
that too.
You can do it on and on
Yes.
active parent, yeah.
And if you have a social media, that's a good place to
Yeah.
put it as well.
All right. All right, so do you want to go ahead and make that decision?
I think let's go ahead and do it, and, whatever timeline you think you post it the same time you post the job, that would be fine with us.
All right. So we were thinking to post the job announcement on September the 8th, which is a Tuesday. September the 7th is Labor Day, and we are assuming that many school districts may not meet on the 7th,
That's true.
So it would start on a Tuesday and end on a Tuesday. The 3 weeks would put you at September the 29th. Then that's when we would go, we don't wait until the deadline. As applications start coming in, we begin verifying things, but we would begin interviewing your applicants the week of October the 12th, because we want to have their background information already verified before they come in to the interview. And these will be face-to-face interviews with the MSBA search team. And we use a standard set of questions for everyone based on what North Pike has said they want. But we are looking for knowledge in the work of the superintendent and the work of the school board. And as Dr. Jackson said, the sample interview questions we will give to the board will be based on the stakeholder reports and some of what you've defined through your criteria. And so you're looking for the best fit. We're looking to see who meets state law and who closely meets your criteria. All right, and then we were thinking that we could maybe report to you the week of October the 19th, depending on the number of applicants we get and have to interview. All right, so does anyone have another suggestion for dates?
I think that sounds good to me.
Okay. All right, so some of these dates to be determined, we, MSBA, can set up the job interviews for you, or you can set those up yourself. But if you wanted us to do it, what we do is contact the applicant. You tell us the date, time, and location. We contact the applicants, make out the schedule, and send it to your board president. And so that's how that's done. Another part of the service is if you want us to let the applicants who apply and are not selected for an interview know, we can make that call. We can do that for you. And then, as Dr. Jackson said, she has sample superintendent contracts that she can share with your board attorney. And after you have made your selection, if you want us to notify the applicants who were interviewed and not selected, then we can also do that.
Well, we probably won't help you with contracts for your board attorney, considering he wrote those.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
True, I forgot about that. All right, so any questions or concerns?
So I have a question, since this is not going into effect until the next July, are there any pros and cons of when we should interview and make a decision? Like, how long do you want that in-between phase in other school districts? What have y'all seen that works well?
Well, because superintendent's contracts and consideration of superintendent contracts are usually done in January, we try to, arrange so the boards can maybe, if they are selecting a seated superintendent, they can do that in a timely way. And that lets the other district know we've got to do a search or that kind of thing. And we can amend this.
I was just wondering if y'all had any best practices and timelines.
I think what we had talked about before is that we would like to name the person in our December meeting.
December.
So they can
Okay.
overlap with Dr. Smith a semester,
Okay.
to both be, just to give maybe a smooth transition, have a semester to overlap.
Is there any data that's a good practice?
So I'm not sure if we have actually done a search where they only looked at internal applicants. You're probably the first one we've done in a very long time. So the benefit to doing it like that would be having them to shadow Dr. Smith. However, if Dr. Smith has some time and days, he may decide, I don't want to stay around. I've got enough time that I could leave early. and I don't know if that's the case, I'm just making up a scenario, but because I know some superintendents who have done that, and they left early, and the, new superintendent had to come in early. In an acting role, but not the superintendent, because the superintendent was still the superintendent.
And you can only have one superintendent at a time.
Okay.
Does that sort of kinda answer your question?
Yes. I think so.
Anything else? And of course, if you have questions after we leave or whatever, you're welcome to contact us and we will get you the answer.
So probably our interviews with the candidates would probably be 1st of November, last week of October, 1st week of November, somewhere in there. And you consider Thanksgiving in November too, then by the 1st week of December, we would
Right.
hopefully make an announcement.
Right, before you leave for the holiday.
Before we leave for the holidays, make an announcement. Okay.
Should you also say, just in case somebody wants to snatch up somebody from us.
Let's see where we are.
Do we do it board action? Yeah.
Uh,
Adopting this timeline?
Do we?
Okay.
Yes.
I will redo the timeline and send it to, Mr. White, and then he can distribute it to the other
Okay.
board members. All communication from us will go to him, and then he'll distribute it to everybody else.
Okay.
But would you want us to go on and adopt the timeline, with any corrections that need to be made since?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is
That's
it.
my question.
And
So-
the timeline is flexible because
Yes,
your superintendent's still in
still,
place.
yeah.
Okay, so do I have a motion that we accept the timeline we just discussed? We have in print here with the edits. Do I have a motion?
Can I just say one thing before we do that?
Yes.
This MSBA interviews the week of October 12th. We have, that week as our fall break.
Oh,
Okay,
And
so
I
we
think
can
we might
shift-
should shift it
Just do
back
it. We
to
can
be
do that.
fair to people that could be
Sure.
traveling. Do y'all agree with that?
Yes.
We can
I didn't
shift it
think about
forward
all
if
that.
you like. Either way, we can shift it forward.
all right, well.
I would say since we've got all of November, shifting
Okay.
it back a week would be fine.
Okay.
'Cause we don't want it on us.
We
Right.
will try,
Right.
October
Yeah.
8th and 9th is PSLA for us, the Prospective Superintendent Leadership Academy, so we can
So
try to.
it may be better
around
for us
that.
to shift it forward
Yeah,
than the,
Well, I guess we could shift y'all forward and y'all could leave us.
yeah.
I don't want us on fall break.
Right.
Let's just be,
Right.
let's have our calendar clear for
Fall-
both people.
The fall break is the week of,
The 12th,
It's after
The
which
12th.
one?
all 5 days.
yeah.
It's the whole week, right.
All right,
That
so the
sounds
week of
fine.
the 19th would be,
Yeah, just shift it.
acceptable
back
to,
okay, that works.
since,
Yeah, that's good.
Y'all good with that? Okay.
thank you for sharing.
All right, yes. Any other question or discussion about the timeline? All right, do I have a motion that we approve the timeline we've discussed?
Motion to approve the timeline we discussed.
Have a second?
I have a question before we do it.
All right.
When we say adopt the timeline, as it is discussed with any amendments, if any.
Yes, the amendments on there is what I meant by discuss, yes.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Okay. So let's see where that brings us now. It brings us to item 4, which, let me find this in this. We move now to item 4, the consideration of suspension of the rules of the board policy BBD. And if you're wondering, I had to ask, this is basically a policy that we have that requires our superintendent to be with us, in executive session for discussions like this. Obviously, he's not here today, so we want to suspend that policy so that we can continue. So I'll entertain a motion to suspend this policy?
Motion to suspend, policy, BBD, board school, superintendent relations.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And motion carried. All right, now that brings us.
Can we go back, Ms. Richardson, did you wanna vote on that?
I did, I'm
Okay,
sorry, I had my
that's okay.
daughter calling me.
Yeah,
Oh.
At the
can we go
same
back and amend
time.
that vote?
I'm sorry, just put me as an aye, or do we need to redo the whole vote? Can y'all add me? Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, so now we need to consider going into executive session. So do I have a motion that we consider going into, executive session for personnel matters, professional competence, and job performance?
Motion to consider going to executive session for professional competence and job performance.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.